Right, so today we're going to be looking at the photoelectric effect. So what is the photoelectric effect? The photoelectric effect is an effect that happens when you shine light on metals, and this causes the release of the electrons within the metals. For most metals, the frequency of the light needs to be in the UV range, so that is the light visible to us humans, right? So that includes green light, yellow light, red light. All those wavelengths are the ones that are going to be able to eject the electrons from the metals, right? So free electrons on the surface of the metal are able to absorb the energy from the light, and it makes them vibrate. And if an electron is able to absorb enough energy, the bonds holding it to the metal break, and the electron is released. And this is called the photoelectric effect. And the electrons emitted are called photoelectrons. Right, so for a given metal, no photoelectrons are emitted if the radiation has frequency below a certain value, called threshold frequency. So what do we mean by threshold frequency? As we stated before, the wavelength, the specific wavelength that is shining onto the metals, needs to be a certain frequency. And this frequency usually falls between the UV range. So if the frequency is either too low, right, so it doesn't meet the required energy required by the electrons in order for them to escape the metal sheet, then they're not going to become photoelectrons. They're not going to be emitted from the sheet of metal. Second of all, the photoelectrons are emitted with a variety of kinetic energies ranging from 0 to some maximum value. And this value of maximum kinetic energy increases with the frequency of the radiation and is unaffected by the intensity of the radiation. So keep in mind that the intensity of the light is not what matters. That is not what is ejecting the electrons. It's the frequency, it's the wavelength. So the photoelectrons are going to be emitted with a specific kinetic energy, right? And this is going to range from 0 to a maximum value. And this energy that they're going to be emitted with, it's because of the certain frequency of the radiation that is being applied onto the metal sheet. So third, the number of photoelectrons emitted per second is proportioned to the intensity of the radiation. So we talked about the kinetic energy and how it is affected by the radiation and the frequency of the radiation, right? So now we're talking about intensity, right? So how bright it is. So depending on the intensity of the radiation, the light, it's going to change the number of electrons photoelectrons that are emitted each second. So the higher the intensity, the more photoelectrons are going to be ejected from the metal plate. I hope this clears any small confusions about the basic understandings of the photoelectric effect and its workings.